Hello, welcome to Connecting the Dots on the PowerNumbers.com website. I'm Dr. Claude Anson, your host. I'm glad to be with you, and I'm glad to be back from my little illness. And I'm gonna try to come with you at least once a week, and try to share some information with you and give you some suggestions about where we are, how we got there, and what you need to do to get out of where we are and get to a better place. Today, let me talk very quickly about the other big event of the day, which is not the virus, but this one is about about politics. And let's talk about politics right now, since we have a Democratic primary going on across the country. And I think one of the silliest things I ever seen in my life. I swear I can't think of anything in all my years that's sillier than this. But the Democratic Party hosts a Democratic primary and got 24 candidates for the President of the United States. You can't get any sillier or any dumber than that. And it's talking, well, we're going to run, we're campaigning to get Trump out of the White House. What they did was to compliment Trump. Anytime you send 24 candidates to try to compete to figure out if they can deal with Trump, who's one man, you made him look like a giant, a powerful man in the White House. It takes 24 of y'all to try to figure out how to come against him. He sat there and just laughed and made jokes out of it. And the Democrats, what they should have done is they should have done what we used to do in the old days. What we used to do in the old days, rather than having 24 candidates running, you should go back into a back room and all you get together and discuss it and pick the strongest candidate you can get out of the 24 people and put him up there, let him run against Trump, and let the other 23 go out and run for local offices in different states against some of the Republicans, GOP that's in Washington D.C. and the Senate, and try to get some of them out of there because they're in there right now. Trump is drawing his strength from those senators, those Republican senators. You should send 23 of those candidates out there to try to run for a public office against those Republican candidates if you really want to be serious about what you're doing. And the Democratic Party is foolish in that respect. Secondly, the Democratic Party has never explained to black people in this country that they're going to practice politics based on the simple premise of what politics is in place for. Politics is a process that decides who will get what benefits out of life. And who's going to get it and how they're going to get it. And yet the Democratic Party has never told black folk that. And so what you should be voting for out there is not for a political candidate based on his personality. Well, I like this candidate for this reason. I like that for that reason. You should be saying, I want to pick the person who's going to provide the most benefits to black people. They're not going to provide any benefits to black folk. Why are you voting? You go to the supermarket, and you go in there and you starve to death and you need some groceries. You go to the supermarket, walk up to the cashier and give him $50, say, I'm buying $50 worth of food. And you don't have to give me anything for it. Just take the $50 and I'm going back by my business. See, that's what the Democrats are doing. And black people don't understand that the Democratic Party has never, ever done anything in the history of this nation to be effectively do something for black folk. They didn't do it when they were the old Democratic Party. They were the old Democratic Party up to about the late 1950s. Then all of a sudden, when black folk left the old Republican Party to come into become Democrats, the old Democrats called Yellow Dog Democrats, they left the party and went over and joined the Republican Party to stay away from black folk. So the present day Democratic Republican Party is nothing but the old Dixiecrats from the South. And now they're going around bragging about their conservatives. And black folk are saying, well, I'm going to vote for him because he's less conservative, he's more conservative, he's liberal. Neither have the liberals ever done anything for black folk, just like the conservatives. Conservatives have never done anything for black folk, and they have no intentions to do anything for black folk. So what you need to do then is to go back and say, now we're going to have to play this game to win. And if you're going to play to win, look at my book, Powernomics. Go to chapter, I think it's chapter 7, that talked about becoming independent and building your own independent party. Neither party is going to do anything for you. As far as the present day candidates, if I was picking one and I'm not going to vote, I quit voting when I found that neither party going to do anything for black folk. Out of all the candidates, most of the Democratic candidates haven't got a snowball's chance in hell right now winning. You got Sanders up there talking about, well, Sanders about, well, I'm going to bring in socialism. This country is not going to vote for socialism. That's never going to happen. Then you had another guy who's gay mayor up in one of the northern areas. I think it's maybe Gary, Indiana, or someplace. And he's talking about he's married to another man in the White House. Nobody's going to vote for two men in the White House. One of them called himself the new lady, first lady, now to be the first man married to another man in the White House. He ain't got a snowball's chance. And the other one out there, you got Biden. Biden is weak. Biden has never done anything for black folk. You ask him, what are you going to do for black folk in terms of the principles of politics? He hasn't got one single thing he's going to offer to do and propose to do. Yet he'll go around these primaries, you find all these blacks rallying, trying to vote for Biden. On what basis? Well, because he was the vice president under Obama. Hell, Obama didn't do anything for black folk. That's not a positive being identified with Obama for black folk. That's a negative. But all black folk are rallying to Biden. He ain't gonna make it. And if I see it, and you got, let me tell you, you got Warren, senatorial candidate, who was she was a senator, I guess, senator, yeah. And she was voting for, she's running for the president of the United States. And she said when she gets in there, first she's gonna look after Indians. So what I'm saying to you, if I was voting right now in the primaries and I don't vote, I'm never going to vote again until they start someone to come up with doing something for black folk. And the only person I've heard say that we're going to do something is the guy right now, Michael Sonberg, Bloomberg rather. That's in there. He's the only one who's come out publicly and said, if I get elected to the president of the United States, I'm gonna do something for black folk. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna be very specific. If I get to become the president of the United States, I'm gonna try to make 1 million blacks millionaires. Now that's the kind of talk black folks should be listening to. And he says, and I'm gonna help rebuild their communities and get better schools for them. He's the only one. Mike Bloomberg is the only one I've heard in all my years in politics and to the present time. Now the other candidates say, if I get elected to office, I'm gonna take care of those people who put me in office. Now, the Democratic Party is negligent. They're using black folk to pimp and hustle black folk. Why am I saying that? Because the Democratic Party right now is made up, their voting strength comes from black people. Black people make up about 38 to 40% of the Democratic Party. And yet they never get anything out of it. Not one penny is sent to black folk to repay them for putting a candidate in office. Now, black folk want to play and win. As I said, they should get out of both parties and go start their own party. And so someone asked me, I guess in one of the responses or comments, said, well, Dr. Anderson, how can we win if we're a minority? You can win. You represent 38 to 40% of the Democratic Party. That what that means is that you got a strong chance of being able to dictate what the Democratic Party is doing. And you can hold them accountable. If you withdrew with 40%, that means right now your voice is stronger than the Hispanics that are joining the Democratic Party. And most of the people that are not voting are the independents. That's where black folks have been going. I told them way back in the late 1990s, if you want to play politics to win, pull away from the Democratic Party, pull out the Republican Party and start becoming independents and vote as independents and vote strictly and solidly based on who promises the most and delivers the most to black folk. Get a contractual commitment for a candidate before you go out and vote for them. If they promise you nothing, that's exactly what you're going to get. Quit running around voting for people based on personalities. And because he's associated with this, he's associated with that. If they haven't done anything for black folk in approvable, measurable terms to elevate the quality of life and the wealth holding for black folk, don't vote for them. Don't vote for anybody who won't support you. And so right now, the best chance you got is Mike Bloomberg. He's the only one that's come out public and say he'll do something for you. And if I were you all, I would pull together my community and my neighborhood and go out and do block voting. So we're going to vote in our neighborhood, in our community as a block for Bloomberg because he promised to do something for black folk. We're going to hold him accountable for that. He has a contract with us and do it nationally where every black in America vote for one candidate that gives you power. And that's the best way you're going to win. And don't worry about the independents. Right now, 67% of the people in the country are independents. They don't even vote anymore. 67% of those who are eligible to vote don't even vote because they pull out of both parties. So again, if you're going to play if you're going to be voting in these primaries, you better go out and get a contractual commitment from the candidate for the president of the United States to deliver something strictly and solely for black folk. Tell me, you want to hear about all that business about what they're going to do for everybody. What they're going to do for everybody else is a waste of time. You don't know what they're going to do for black folk. You are a permanent underclass in our society. I predicted that back in 2008, that by the year 2013 or 2015, that black folk become a permanent underclass. You're a permanent underclass. An underclass means those individuals who, by the pure nature of their social economic condition must live as either beggars or criminals for the rest of their existence. That's why right now, all these campaigns have been going on now for primaries about the last year or so. Not one has come out and do anything for black folk except Bloomberg. So go out there, pull your people together, go to the polls and vote for those who promises most and delivers to black folk, irrespective of their skin color. Don't listen to the ministers or civil rights leaders or any water-leg politicians that won't stand up for you. As a matter of fact, in terms of reparations, just this past week, there is one of the most noted, visible blacks in the Democratic Party in Washington, D.C. He came out and said he would not support reparations for black folk because they could not prove or decide how much money each black folk would get. So therefore, now give them anything. And said reparations now should be for everybody. He voted said reparations should also include whites. I have never heard anything that stupid in my life. But that's what he's proposing. And so he's sitting in Washington, D.C. as a lead black person in the Democratic Party talking about blacks don't need any reparations because we can't decide on how much each one would get. How did they gave all the reparations funds to white Southerners after the Civil War? They didn't go count and figure out how much each one would get. They gave them a bunch of money. When they gave money, when Obama gave it somewhere between 26 and 36 million dollars to Jews in America about 3 years ago, he didn't make the decision based on what each Jew would get. He gave the money as a block. When and after World War II, in the Marshall Plan, we gave $6 to $8 billion to help Germany and France. It wasn't based on what each Frenchman would get or what each German would get. They gave it to the group, and they should do the same thing for black folk. I got all kinds of ideas on how that money could be used to help black folk when reparations come to it. I don't make my suggestions public because I got too many claim jumpers out there that would take it and run off the wrong way with it. If I said we're going to do this, head north, they would grab it and head south and say, look what I got. So I don't tell them what my plan is. I got a very comprehensive plan on how blacks can use reparations to get more wealth, more opportunities, how to build their communities, and strengthen their families and everything, and become a political power force in this country. Again, if you're going to vote, vote the right way. If you're not going to vote the right way, don't vote at all. And Steve said, well, Dr. Harrison, you're suggesting suppression. You're suppressing the black vote. I'm not recommending you not vote. I'm saying vote with some sense, where your vote count because it's based on a critical analysis of your condition. And that's not to suppress the vote. Your vote was suppressed in the United States Constitution in 1789 when they made you a permanent minority of a slave and classified you as a field animal and as a non-citizen and a non-human being. That suppressed your vote. Your vote right now is still being suppressed. It's being depressed or suppressed by the United States Constitution and about these civil rights laws now that are giving everything to everybody but black folk. And that it's excluding you, they're depressing you, they're using your vote. And also they're suppressing your vote by bringing in an unending influx of immigrants into the country. Black folk people now are outnumbered in the voting booth 10 to 1, which means I don't care how a black person votes, he's outnumbered 9 votes by those who are against him. And keep in mind that 89% of people in the country don't give a damn about black folk one way or the other. And so if you're going to vote based on your strength, vote for people who promise and deliver something for you, and stay black as long as you can, and respect and appreciate your own people. Don't hate anybody else. This is not about hating anybody. It's about caring about your own people first and foremost. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighborhoods and your communities. Take care of your own people, and vote the right way, but vote based on who promised you something. And if my word gets out there, maybe in the last moment, maybe Biden and Warren and Sanders will get out there and start talking about doing something for black folk rather than trying to say they're going to do something for everybody. That's the Democrats' problem right now. They always want to try to save the world rather than saving the people that put them in office. That's why the Republicans beat them every time. They can't beat the Republicans because Republicans vote based on what they call the 11th commandment, which means never say anything ill or bad about another Republican and vote as a bloc. That's why the Republicans will beat Democrats every time. They beat them when they were enslaved and in Jim Crow segregation, when they were Democrats. Now the Republicans, who are still the same conservatives, are going to beat these Democrats again because the Democrats always want to save the world, try to save everybody rather than being responsible only to those people who put them in the public office. They swear an oath to take and serve those people. Do it and quit and quit mistreating and excluding those people who put you in the office from the benefits in our society. That's my word for today, my comments from the Connecting the Dots. You take care and have a pleasant day, and I'll see you at the next video taping. Bye-bye now.